So data culture is all about understanding behaviours and changing them one step at a time. So data culture will be something that all organisations will like to have, but few of them will truly understand what they mean, let alone how to achieve it. 2020 is the year to put an end to this confusion, and organisations that will do so are likely to gain a competitive advantage. Data culture is all about behaviours. What are the data behaviours you see around you, and what are the ones you want to change? How would you like people to think, feel and act instead? Find the behaviours you want to see more and work towards adopting them one step at a time. Behaviour is a function of motivation plus ability plus triggers. So in simple terms, for someone to engage in a behaviour, they need to want to do it, they need to be able to do it, and they need to remember to do it. For example, motivation. It is much easier for people to do things if they want to, and it's no different when it comes to interacting with, using, and making the most of data. Then think about ability. It might be obvious, but in order for people to perform a behaviour, they need the ability to do so. And lastly, the trigger, cue or call to action or reminder. We need to trigger behaviours in daily work in order to build repeatable habits, allowing patterns of behaviour and new narratives to emerge over time. There are not going to be any silver bullet solutions that will solve all your data related problems, and not all solutions are going to be technical. You'll have to be far more creative than that in 2020. It might be about designing meaningful, immersive learning experiences or new physical collaboration spaces to provide people with the experience of how it is to use and interact with data in entirely different ways.
So the first trend that we see emerging in 2020 is about using the things people care about as design principles for data solutions. So more often than not, we find that analytics solutions are built based on perceptions or assumptions of what people need from data, and they're removed from the context of work and from the things that matter to people. So people are given tools which they are often expected to integrate into their everyday work independently. They have to find out where and when a dashboard or a platform fits into a job that was never designed to utilize the kind of tools they're now expected to adopt. And you end up with a lot of friction, with overwhelm and an awful lot of confusion. But what we can see emerging is that organizations are gaining a deeper understanding of the things people value and are challenged by when it comes to their work. And you can use these things as guide rails to design data and analytics solutions that underpin and fit more seamlessly into existing processes, or even to design entirely new experiences. So the second trend we see emerging is about opting for insights and not just data. Data's become more and more accessible to people in many organizations. In fact, the companies that we work with are often making a conscious effort to improve accessibility, transparency, and what they might call the democratization of data. Now, it's a good thing, but it can have unintended consequences to the point where people are sometimes drowning in data. So when people are given access to data but don't use it, we often assume there are problems of knowledge capability and the requirement to increase data literacy. But we believe we'll start to see more and more organizations opting for the provision of insight and not just data. Training people to become data fluent is really hard, it takes a long time, and can actually be a waste of time in the end. We can instead make things easier for people by using information design and visualization to give people more valuable insights to inform decision making. The more enlightened data and analytics teams have caught on to the fact it's not just about giving people data, it's about context, storytelling, and the meaning behind data. So the third trend that we see emerging in 2020 is building consumer-grade interfaces to interact with data. And what does that mean? Well, our world when it comes to data and technology has changed so much over the last decade. And whether it's fair or not, people's expectations of their enterprise technology platforms are based on their experiences of the tools they use outside of work. Enterprise platforms are often pretty clunky affairs. They require hours of training, complicated user guides, even to extract small amounts of value from. And when it comes to the adoption of data and analytics platforms, The perceived cost of use to the individual outweighs their perception of its value to their work, but we can see that changing. And in 2020, data capabilities will increasingly start to change their delivery models, looking to build what you might call consumer-grade platforms underpinned by data and analytics and useful, powerful insights.